Oh, now it's working. Okay, cool. For a second, I thought my audio recorder had completely frozen. Anyway, welcome back to my closet in which I record a daily vlog basically about whatever I'm thinking. Called as such currently because I'm literally recording in a closet. Today, I am full of anxiety and also excitement because I'm going to the studio today. It's called Soapbox, and it's a community print shop that I pay to be part of and have storage space there. I should really take a picture and post on Instagram where I keep most of my art supplies because it's the art closet, but it's really just a mess. But I'm going there today. I'm photographing some of my older pieces I want to put up for sale, and I'm working on a newer piece that's going to be hung up at my favorite fish supply store. And there'll be pictures on my Instagram too eventually. And in addition to all of that, I'm also going to be given a rundown of how Soapbox handles their screen printing facilities because that wasn't set up when I first moved here. It got set up about a month ago. And screen printing has been one of my favorite forms of printmaking for a while. That in conjunction with lino blocks. Now, you may be listening to this and being like, well, what the hell is screen printing, Isaiah? Why are you talking about this? And A, it's because I want to. I like screen printing, so I'm going to be a nerd about it for today. And B, it's because I'm going to be out all afternoon, so I have to record this first thing, get it ready to go, because this project in particular is a record the day of, ship out the day of, not a prepare in advance like my future projects will be. And I'll be talking about that more probably next week as I get started on it properly. But screen printing is actually the application of ink onto a surface through a mesh. And you use stencils of any sort to prevent the ink from going through like a solid block of color. There is much commercial use for it, but there's also the fancy pants back in the 1930s or whatever. People tried to make it sound much more fine artsy by calling it serigraphy. They were people that were part of the Work Progress Administration, the New Deal. So, all of that stuff. Remember when, who was it? Was it Kennedy? I don't remember, but it was during the Great Depression. Then the New Deal came out, and it was a way to give people work. And some of the work programs were for artists. And it's around the time when screen printing got really popular in the Americas. It had been used since way back when by the Chinese, made its way over to Europe, but 1930s started using it as serigraphy because you got to be fancy and not be considered the same as the commercial use screen printing. You actually see a lot of that attitude in printmaking, even today, printmaking and book arts. I may discuss that for a minute in a second. The people that really popularized it, though, were people like Andy Warhol and Ray Lichtenstein. You, of course, know Andy Warhol, Marilyn Monroe, the tomato soup cans, all that fun stuff. Lichtenstein was a multimedia artist, but you may know him best for the giant, like blown up comic panels that he did. But those were done with screen printing. And oftentimes the work, especially with Warhol, I know he would actually set everything up, get the stencils ready, and then have other people print it. He also printed on a piece of type of paper that I print on today, so that's pretty cool. I'm not actually a huge fan of Andy Warhol, but I can respect him, and I have a greater respect for the pop art movement that I didn't have before I was in college. I used to be very, it's not real art or yada yada yada, and now I've completely changed my mind. Banksy, though, I hate Banksy. If anyone cares, I can talk about that later. But let's actually talk for a second about the weird divide that there is in specifically my favorite types of art, which is printmaking, book art, and graphic design, specifically layout design. So all of this came about mostly from trying to convey information. Printmaking, I mean, some of the earliest stuff is people writing down things about Buddhism so that they could send it across China. And of course, you have the Gutenberg press, which made printmaking a lot more automatic, a lot easier for people to do. You have lithography, which is where you essentially draw on a huge piece, not necessarily huge, but a piece of limestone with a greasy pencil, and then you can apply pigment and lift it off in a certain pattern over and over. Alphonse Mucha is well known for his lithography pieces, but his lithography pieces were advertisements for like cigarettes or for plays, but we still consider a lot of his work or all of his work fine art. And a lot of the technology that we use in the fine arts of printmaking are considered obsolete commercially, because why would you use a letterpress when you have a computer? Why would you want to take that time when you can get it done much more quickly and efficiently and send it there? But there's still a lot of overlap. There's the Cmyk, which you may have heard of. Cmyk versus RGB. RGB being the way that light creates colors, specifically for like your computer screen and stuff. Cmyk is cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. Don't ask me why K is black. I don't remember. And it has to do with you can layer those colors over each other and get any color from printmaking. And when I was in graphic design, I learned how to use the Cmyk method, and there was a lot of like going back and forth from the printer you're going to use, so you made sure you had the right thing, because the screen doesn't reflect the same color because it's using a completely different method to show it. But I remember when I was finishing up for printmaking, I spoke with one of my professors and mentors, Katie, and I mentioned to her how I'd found someone on YouTube that makes books, and it was very helpful because I am the worst at taking notes and I have the worst memory. So when I forgot how to do a certain type of stitch, I could Google it, go onto this person's YouTube channel, and have a step-by-step and be able to learn from her as well. And I remember my professor just kind of made this face and was like, oh, that's not the same. Just don't mention that when you go to this book artist convention in January. And it was an odd moment for me, but I realized there's still a bit of snobbery between the college educated people and people who may have just learned on their own, maybe from other books or YouTube channels or anything like that. And it feels very similar to the divide that people have between commercial and fine art, as well as what people want to consider art versus trash. But that's something for me to just think on, I think. And especially as I'm going out today and I'm going to be working to try and become a working artist out of soapbox. Hopefully things go well today, and fingers crossed. I'm full of anxiety about it. I'm just generally a very anxious person. I have generalized anxiety disorder. I am medicated for it currently. It's not working very well. But there's a lot for me to be anxious about currently, between trying to put myself out there on social media when I don't know how, and creating these videos to try and document my progress as like both a person and an artist, and just everything else. I just want my family to be happy and healthy, and I want to share fun information that I know about, like screen printing. Like, screen printing's been around forever. It's so much fun. There are so many fun ways that you can use it, and I hope in the future to make a log that just kind of shows how people at home can do screen printing with a cheap thing of mesh and wax paper. But I'll have to get my video set up started first, because that's another thing. I'm going to start figuring out how to take video of my traditional work so that I can switch between the Minecraft and actual art stuff, because art stuff is cool too. As for Minecraft, I love Minecraft. It's a great way for me to unwind, but there's only so much flattening that's left, and then I'm going to actually have to start building. But yeah, that's everything for today. Hope y'all stay hydrated. I'm going to try and do that too. I'm going to get some water now, actually. And let's all have a fantastic day. Bye-bye.